Okay, we're going to get started. We have a special guest here tonight. But first, I just want to say again, my name's Michael Wehar. I'm broadcasting here from Swarthmore College. This is station WSRN 91.5 FM. If you have any questions or if you would like to call in, our number is 610-690-5700. So tonight, our special guest is Nick. Nick, we're really glad to have you on the show. And we're going to be talking about, at least for part of the show, we're going to talk about how to make friends during COVID times, post-COVID, or I guess it's still something we're dealing with. And we're going to get some of Nick's experiences, ideas, and suggestions. And we're really glad to have you, Nick. Nick, could you introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you for having me here. Yep, name is Nicholas, and I currently live in King of Prussia. I moved here within the area roughly 2 years ago now, and I originally was from Easton, Pennsylvania, which was just north of Northampton County. And I am originally from overall New Jersey. I was a Jersey boy, and still technically am. So I just want to thank you again for having me. Right now, since I've moved into King of Prussia, I absolutely love the area, love with all the stuff that we can do. Philadelphia is definitely my favorite place, too, because where I lived in New Jersey definitely was not the place to do since it was middle of nowhere.
So if I got that right, thank you very much for that introduction. If I got that right, you said you grew up in the Easton area. Is that correct?
I was from there 2 years ago. I lived in that area in Northampton, but I'm originally from New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for clarifying that. And may I ask, how old are you, Nick?
That's a tough one. I literally just turned 30, like a few weeks ago.
Oh, happy birthday. I didn't know that. Well, that's a big life accomplishment. You're 30 years old. That's great.
It was definitely a stressful moment right there.
Okay. So, again, one of the things we wanted to talk about today is COVID and making friends, socializing. So our first question we have here is, how did COVID affect you? Can you share anything about how it might have affected you, and especially regarding your social life? Like, you can start out generally and then also touch on how it might have affected your social life.
Absolutely. Well, COVID started because it was my current work. I work in the insurance field. So, I mean, it was slow for everybody, but definitely affected at first where, a lot of people went unemployed in unfortunate circumstances. I didn't have work for like 2 weeks, so it wasn't as bad, which was actually pretty lucky based on the circumstances. But with that, I actually had to get a part-time job just to, because I could not sit home all day because work was slow and I just cannot sit home. So I'm a person who likes to go out, have a little activity, have some fun. So I actually got another job. But I worked at a warehouse for a few months, and then once work picked back up, I went right back to my current job where the hours went back to normal. So that was pretty, good right there. But COVID overall was how the effect, just in my area itself and with everybody else, is just that everything was just closed. There was just nothing to do. Socializing was not, it was kind of quiet for that period of time. The one thing in terms of where in Pennsylvania, what we couldn't do was also get our haircuts. And since I traveled a lot to Maryland, they had no haircut restrictions there with the barbershops and all. So I would literally drive there where my work was and get my haircut there.
That's pretty crazy. I didn't know that you were actually crossing into another state just to get some necessities. So coming back to talking a little bit more about how COVID might have affected your social life. Did you make any friends at the beginning of the pandemic, and how did that change as things went on? If you're able to say anything about that, maybe you made friends with some coworkers, or so Nick and I have known each other for a little while, and we're friends. So we became friends during COVID. So anything you can say though about, I guess early on, if you made any friends, or as time went on, if you made friends.
Yep. Yeah. Well, when COVID started, obviously it was a big change for everybody. So lockdown was going on, people were very afraid to how to interact with other people during those times. Like, you just go out and do something, but places were closed or restrictions here, restrictions there. So, when I moved to King of Prussia in it was July of 2020. I was brand new to the area still. I didn't really know much at all except for my brother who lives nearby. So it was just one of those where I wasn't even sure how to do it because everybody's different when it came to these times. It was unfortunate circumstances, and of course it's still happening now. But it was just one of those where I didn't even know what to do. So thankfully, what popped up was because I actually was planning on using the app, which is called Meetup. I actually was going to use that right before COVID started, and I actually had a few events to go to, but it was canceled because of COVID. But when I moved here, that was the one thing that kept my eye open right there was Meetup. And the ones that opened up were the Philadelphia ones right there. Just, hanging out at, going to restaurants, just interacting with other people. But that was the one thing that I just wanted to kind of keep my eyes open on just to see if there are any like local events and all. So probably the next year, which was like April or May or so, is when I started to look at more events becoming opening because obviously restrictions are starting to cool a little bit. And there was the one that popped up, which was the Philadelphia Main Line 20s and 30s one, which is like right there, right near me. I'm like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity because I tried going to the ones in Philadelphia and I just could not go to Philadelphia all the time, let alone trying to park and with traffic and everything. So this was a perfect opportunity right here. And yeah, it was the one right on Main Line. And where the events started, it was just, going to restaurants, socializing with other people. And sure enough, the person here I'm speaking to, Mike, he was the one that created this, group within Meetup. And sure enough, this is where we met. And this is where I've been, looking at other opportunities here with, meeting new people. And it's definitely created a lot of friends in this area where it's, just to actually be part of this now. So the groups that I've lost count now. The amount of people I've met through these apps who are, still, talk to today. It's just been unbelievable.
Well, thank you so much, Nick. For multiple reasons, thank you. I wanted to ask about a few things you said. The first, just kind of a basic question here, so that people can be oriented. You're in King of Prussia. What county is that in?
That is actually right there in Montgomery County, right at the bottom right there. I'm at like that spot where it's in Montgomery, but then you can walk up the street practically and be in Chester and Delaware at the same time.
Okay. So right now we're in Swarthmore at Swarthmore College, which is in Delaware County, not too far away. So Delaware and Montgomery counties border each other. Another comment related to what you were saying, yeah, it can be tough traveling into Philadelphia. I've traveled into Philadelphia quite a few times to meet people, to hang out, to go to, the really neat museums and places they have there. But yeah, so that is a meaningful point. If you live in the suburbs surrounding the Philadelphia area, it can be quite difficult to travel into the city if you're trying to meet people. And it'd be great if there are ways to make friends in the suburbs. But I wanted to also ask, is that one of the main ways you met people? Is that through Meetup, or did you try any other apps? We don't have to talk about dating. You don't have to say any comments about that. But any other apps or any other venues for events or virtual ways of meeting people? Did you, or is Meetup really the only thing that people can do? Or I'm just wondering.
You know what? It's a good question. I actually only use the Meetup app just because I used it beforehand. I planned on intending to use it more often once everything started opening back up. But I just saw so many opportunities for different types of groups. There can be like the slightest, there's hiking groups. There's just groups for people who want to paint. There is just so many opportunities, especially in this area, where I'm like, no, I'll just stick with that. Especially when, stuff started opening more, you really weren't sure where to go to and all. And plus, I was still trying to get used to the area and all. I just wasn't sure, really where to start with that. So I just kept my eye on the Meetup app where there's just so many different opportunities and choices right there.
Okay, so I just want to give a disclaimer. We're not saying everyone should join Meetup or anything like that. We're a non-commercial station here at Swarthmore College, but it is a phenomenon. It is a thing that's going on. There are some different apps out there that people are using to meet people, to make friends, to go to events, and I know, like, there's reason to be cautious or concerned. If you're going in person. There's also virtual events and things like that. But we want to talk to Nick more. So as things go on, we'll talk a bit more about some of our experiences going to different events during COVID times, or even virtual events and things like that. I wanted to give a quick recap, though. Again, my name is Michael Wehart. I'm broadcasting here from Swarthmore College. WSRN 91.5 FM, and our phone number is 610-690-5700. You're welcome to call in anytime. And we have a special guest, Nick, and we're talking about making friends, socializing during COVID, and what that's like. So I want to come back to some of the questions we have here. I want to ask you about do you have any recommendations for what people should be doing if they want to make friends, or what kinds of activities? I know you touched a little bit on that, but maybe what kinds of activities might be ways that you can meet people or make friends?
Yep. In terms of your hobbies, especially, like, there's always opportunities out there where, you have, just say you like to go hiking, you like to, do arts and crafts and all. There's always opportunities in different groups for that. So if you just say use the app and you type in like art clubs or hiking groups, there is always opportunities for that, where there was always time to, make planning for the weekend or even a weeknight to go out and do that type of stuff. And my favorite stuff to do was just, it was more just actually just meet, literally, like the app says, you meet people. And, the best time to do that was like evening time, on a Friday, Saturday, or even during the weekday, like going to a restaurant, going to maybe a bar, and just to learn, to chit chat with people. And that's the kind of way I looked at it with the app. And the one group that which was obviously the one Mike created, was 20s and 30s. I wanted to actually make new friends and, talk to people around my age. And I specifically look for that one. And I remember seeing a notification that this group was created. And I remembered there was maybe 5 people on there in the app, or in this group. So I'm like, all right, I'll join it. And sure enough, there was first event coming up. And I can't remember the restaurant we met at, but there was quite a bit of people there for the very first day.
So I remember it. I believe it was Lola's Garden in Ardmore, which is not too far away. But yeah, it was really great to meet you there. And I was thinking about it the other day. There's 3 people who came, and we just got dinner. And three people I'm still keeping in touch with. I'm still friends with. There were more than 3 who came, but in total, I think there were maybe 9 of us or so. But yeah, 3 of the people who came, I'm friends with. I hang out with. I see. So that was really great. I mean, a couple of things you touched on there. You mentioned hiking. Hiking's a big thing in this area. There's a lot of great parks nearby and trails and things like that. And you don't, if you're not into apps and meeting people through apps, I mean, there's in-person groups that go to these parks and hike every week or every month. And they post in different ways about when they're doing it, whether it's on social media or even some of the park information centers even know about that. So I wanted to just mention Wissahickon and Valley Forge, of course, and Ridley Creek State Park. So there's a lot of these local areas that people will go hiking, and you can go by yourself, you can go with a friend, you can go with a group, you can go and participate in some of their activities that the park even hosts sometimes, or that just people enthusiastic about hiking host. But I found hiking is an amazing way to meet people. Now, I don't want to say everyone should do this, and I also don't want to say you shouldn't be cautious, because you might be meeting people you don't know. I mean, you should be safe and take precautions and be smart. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention hiking. I mean, there's other things though, as you mentioned, art. There's definitely art groups. Probably anywhere there are people who are interested in being creative, pursuing art. In the Philly area, I know there's people that even will paint outside, and I know that's a thing. So there's some groups that do that. So this was really great. I think you gave a lot of good suggestions and insights into what people locally can be doing. So continuing on, though, I know you've organized events as well, and I was wondering if you could tell us anything about what it's been like organizing events, and if you have any process to it, or if you had any successes or failures that you're willing to share.
Yes, it's definitely simpler as people think it is. It's a lot simpler to actually like set up these events at different places. I thought it'd be like a little difficult when it comes to like knowing the amount of people, this and that. But there are difficulties with it. The one thing I had issues with was which a lot of places now they require to. I guess when you have like 10, 15, even 20 people at some of these events, they want you to make it like a business to them where you're doing like a catering. So they give you like a menu, and a lot of these places like make you create like it's a party almost, where you have to pay per person, this and that. It's not like a simple step where you can just like have a table save for us, that this and that. A lot of places have different amount of people that are be allowed to go to, but you have to pay for it. And that was the challenge for me. But the one thing I learned is more outdoor places that actually were a little more easier to book certain events.
So just to kind of comment on that, if I understood that right, it's pretty easy to get started creating an event and to invite people and to have real people show up and interact. But once it gets kind of big, if it's a venue and you have 10 people, that can get kind of complicated. But say if it's just 3 or 4 or 5, 6 people, it's pretty easy. Mm-hmm. And if you do it outside, as you said, it might be you could have 10, 20 people and not be as concerned with the booking aspect of the venue. So I just wanted to ask you more about that. Did you have any successful events? What were they? If you're able to give an example, one that would be really great. That would help us to better understand.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Like the first one I remember creating was at a beer garden in Manayunk. I booked it for like 30 people, and literally the whole reservation was booked within like a few days. Like I knew right there, like this is like the place to go to right off. And it was actually easy setting up the reservation because it was. Unfortunately, I can't remember the exact foundation that runs this beer garden.
I think it was the Horticultural Society.
Yes.
I think they called it like a pop-up of some kind.
Yes, pop-up. Yes, thank you. Yeah, they opened their beer garden just help bring in business and all. And they, when you would actually want to set up like a reservation for like a table, they were very well and got prepared. Sure thing, we can have a table for you. And when I said about 30 people, like not a problem at all. And right there, since it was right in Manayunk, right outside the, right outside Philadelphia, or well, in Philadelphia, but on the outskirts, there were a lot more opportunities for people to come by and, just to meet new people. And my whole point to that was, I wanted more people just so everybody has someone to talk to meet new people. And sure enough, we were there. Oh my goodness. We were actually past the time. We were actually there was no time of what you're supposed to leave. I know they closed at midnight, but we actually stayed past midnight and we actually went out to eat afterwards. We were there for a long time.
That's really great to hear. I actually didn't come. I couldn't come. I can't remember why. And I later ended up going to this beer garden for a different event, but that's funny. I didn't know you went out to eat afterwards, and you're already making friends where you were had an after event. So I have another question I want to ask. That was really great to hear about your success with organizing an event, and so many people came and interacted. And why do you organize events now? Is it maybe to meet people, or is it to get out of the house? I know you said you don't like to be inside, and or is it you want to try new things, or maybe it's all those things, or maybe it's something else? I just wanted to hear your thoughts and your personal kind of interest in organizing events.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, it was definitely COVID definitely brought me up to that idea of doing more things, because obviously, there was just nothing to do for that time. And I, had interest in the past of doing that when I lived, because I originally lived in Easton, PA. And, there was opportunities right there to pop up, but it just, unfortunate circumstances, I just couldn't do it. And then sure enough, Mike was offering in his group, more people to plan out events and all. I'm like, oh, sure thing. Like, I'll definitely take the idea of doing like a late night one, going to, where we can have bigger hosts and all, more amount of people coming. And I just want to do it just to see, if I can actually do it myself. And if, because anything is possible at this point through the app and the meetup. Because obviously, when Mike would say like 10 people, put 10 people, to come, we would have more people showing up, or more people want to be on the wait list and all. So we would have more people coming. And I'm thinking to myself, what happens if we can get like a bigger venue where more people can come? Because obviously I wanted to meet more people, meet new people, since I really didn't know many two people around here in this area. And sure enough, 30 people came, and that's where, built more, friends, more people to know, even just more people just to socialize with, even if you don't talk to them afterwards. It's just an area just to meet new people. But I really wanted to meet new people. That was kind of my goal right there of joining, using the Meetup app.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, it's kind of a basic thing. I mean,
yeah, it really is. It's that simple. That's why I want to tell everybody, if you have an opportunity to go out and try new things, like, just use the app. Because I see a lot of, there's like a few other Meetup apps on there where, groups on there where people just want to just meet new people. They're new to the area and they just kind of don't know where to start. And I think this is a perfect opportunity right there where you make that start. Because as you get older, it is tougher to make friends in some ways. And I think, just being yourself and just attempting to go out there, actually, it would be beneficial right there.
Well, it's that simple. Nick wanted to meet people, and that's why
Absolutely.
He started organizing events. And again, I don't want to tell everyone you should join a certain app or anything like that. I mean, there's some apps that we've had experiences that were positive with meeting people and things like that. But I also want to say I've gone to church groups and seen events, and I've had some positive experiences. I've also going to some of these local parks hiking. I've met people and found out about events the parks themselves organize. Even through working at Swarthmore College, they have events regularly, and some of those I've attended in the past. And even things like farmers markets, or there was a car show in the area where I live. So local events hosted in your township, in your county. There's a lot of opportunities, and we understand some people might be hesitant to get out. They might have good reasons not to. There's even people who don't want to meet others. That's fine too. But for people like Nick who want to meet people, it's great to know there's others out there like that, and there are ways to find events or find places to meet and interact and to make new friends. So the last question I have here, and before we do that, I just wanted to say again, my name is Michael Wehar. I'm broadcasting here from Swarthmore College's WSRN 91.5 FM radio station. Our number is 610-690-5700. If you have a question for Nick, you can call in. Nick's our special guest today, and it's been really great to hear from him about, how COVID affected him, how he's gone out and really met a lot of people and even started organizing events. And, there's things in our local area such as hiking and art, where those are great kind of topics that have communities of people around them who want to interact. So this has been a really awesome interview. And the last question I have here I wanted to ask, do you plan on organizing events again this summer? Do you have any ideas what you might do?
Yep, absolutely. And it was actually funny because I just was been emailing back and forth with the same location in Manayunk, and I'm trying to get an event there started, sometime in next month. But the schedule is definitely getting limited there, so I'm just trying to, get the best what I can for that. But I definitely want to, do more this summer for other type of events. And I kind of want to stick with more outdoor ones where, it's nice, the weather is nice out, more open space for more people to show up. And even people want to, social distance and all, better outdoors, of course. But I definitely want to do more of those events again. And I am looking more also outside of Philadelphia in the Exton area, those type of places. So, people from, farther away can actually have a chance to meet up and all. But I definitely been looking at other places, even, just restaurants where there's outdoor seating, that type of stuff. I want to look more. There's opportunities for that type of stuff. But I definitely want to stick with the ones I did last summer, which are more at the, beer gardens, that type of stuff where, a lot more people feel comfortable meeting new people and all there.
Well, that's really great. You're focusing on some of the events you had success with last summer.
Yep.
You want to reproduce that. And you're also looking at potentially having events in other neighboring areas. So I just wanted to say thank you so much, Nick. You've been a really amazing guest. We're really excited to have you and really excited to hear about your thoughts and advice on how to go out and meet people. So again, this is WSRN 91.5 FM, and we're going to sign off for today. And just thank you again.
Yep, thank you.